okay, we are already born, but we are developing it further. And first smells that we come together or contact with, they are recorded, but stored in the back of the head, which is the same place where emotions are stored. So it's in the brain. It's almost like the same area.
Oh, okay.
Which is also means that every time if you smell something, then first of all you get an indication of or a memory.
Welcome to WITT. Hi, I'm Megan. I talk with founders, investors, and operators working in tech. My aim is to inspire you with their stories and perspectives. Through this podcast, I want to amplify the voice of women working in tech. If you want to support WITT, then make sure you follow us on your favourite podcasting app. Then you won't miss any future episodes. Today's guest is Kristel, a flavour scientist and co-founder of Raw Edge. She's blending chemistry, sustainability, and entrepreneurship to shape the future of food tech. Let's get started. Hi Kristel, welcome to WITT. Great to have you on the podcast. Well, I would love to kick off our conversation with a lightning round. Is that okay?
Ready?
Get straight into it then. Question number 1. What is the most surprising food that smells nothing like it tastes?
Durian, maybe?
Yes, this is a good answer. Question number 2. What's one Estonian food everyone should try at least once?
Spiced sprats.
Okay. Question number 3. What's your non-negotiable when it comes to work-life balance?
Quality time with kids.
I feel like that's a good goal. Question number 4. Are you a mountain or seaside person?
Tough. I say 50-50.
50-50. Okay, I like it. Question number 5. If you had to explain your research to a 5-year-old, how would you do it in one sentence?
It's a very tough one.
Yeah.
Really. I'm trying to figure, like, my kid was 5 years old 3 years ago. I am studying why you like this ice cream, for example.
Oh yeah, that's a good take, especially for a 5-year-old, I would say. And then a very related question number 7. What is your favorite flavor of ice cream?
I mostly choose pistachio,
Okay.
but I think my favorite is still vanilla.
Yeah.
It's a good vanilla.
Classic, yeah. I like it. Question number 8. What book changed how you see science and or business?
Start with why.
Start with why. Lovely choice. Question number 9. What is the biggest misconception people have about food science?
People say food is it's full of chemicals.
Right.
Sometimes with a bad note because there are a lot of E numbers. And then I always say, like, the whole food is chemistry. It consists of chemical molecules. So you cannot say that it's full of chemicals or chemistry because it is what it is. It's 100%. Doesn't matter if it's natural or not natural.
Okay, I like it. And then the last question for the lightning round is, if you had to describe your entrepreneurial journey in 3 emojis, what would they be and why?
Excitement.
Okay.
With the steaming brain.
Yeah.
Third, bliss.
Bliss. Okay, I like it. And then what are the reasons for these emojis?
Well, excitement you have to have, and it's really exciting if you're doing and you're seeing actual results. Well, the brain is very often streaming all the time because it's either you have to talk about your business or you're reading something, or then you even have to talk with somebody who is out of, like, it's their job to be absolutely against everything you say.
Oh, okay.
And then you have to explain.
Right.
And bliss is just that when it's all done and you can see that somebody is putting your product onto their basket at the supermarket, and then you look at this and they're thinking, man, this is good.
Yeah, I love it. Great little story. I loved your emojis. Thank you so much for answering my lightning round questions.
I love it.
Awesome. And let's now move on to your journey, right? So on your LinkedIn profile, it says that you are a flavor scientist. Now, first off, wow. And second off, what does that mean?
Very, now, if you're not a 5-year-old, I explain that basically what I do is I take food any food product, ice cream, fish, bread, whatever you can imagine. And it consists of chemicals, like I already said. Of course, there are like proteins and hydrocarbons and all that, but I am focusing on those molecules that that actually provoke or react with your either taste buds or with your olfactory receptors. So I am only interested in those molecules, and I want to know how much there are those, like in a quantity. Which ones, which ones like we call it flavor release, which molecules you taste first and how fast you start tasting them. And then also the technology, like the mechanism, why this particular molecule is there, like how it came. Did it come from the raw material? Did it come from the processing step? Did it come from combination reaction? So this is the chemistry or the flavor chemistry that we are really interested as a flavor chemists. And also very exciting new areas. How can we change the perception of flavor, the taste and the odor together? If we add something or take away something, like we take away one molecule and it changed completely, or if we add something, then it also changes. Right now, we just recently finished a super interesting research of salt reduction. And I had a bouillon, normal like 1% of salt concentration. And then I added one molecule there, this like brownish, roasty note. And the perceived saltiness was like 2 or 3 times bigger. So just one other molecule changes the perception of taste. So this is something that I'm really excited right now.
Yeah, no, it sounds super interesting. I love this type of stuff. And you talked about this, right? Like the flavor can change everything. And I feel like flavor is often described as a kind of invisible driver of food choice. So can you kind of explain how taste and smell shapes our kind of cravings and even our kind of outcomes?
Well, our first, when a baby is born, I like to go back into actually the receptors start developing already in the mother's womb. But when the baby is born, then it's born with very good sense of smell. And it is learning. I just recently heard that actually we give birth to a baby way earlier than the brain is developed. So the brain keeps on developing, and all the sensations and smells and everything starts continuously develop the brain. And by the way, just fun fact, I tried with my kid when I heard this, that when baby's born, just the first time when it's put on your chest, then with the smell, it starts to go towards where the nipple is or where the food is. So I made him that challenge when he was first put on my chest, and then I told him that okay, now this is your job to find your food. And it was so interesting to see how the baby starts moving towards where the food is, and it found it. And that was the most, I don't know, I was crying, of course, from all the hormones and everything, but the fact that it managed to do that as a baby, like just newborn, it was so cool to see. So we start developing sense of smell, and okay, we are already born, but we are developing it further, and first smells that we come together or contact with, they are recorded, but stored in the back of the head, which is the same place where emotions are stored. So it's in the brain. It's almost like the same area.
Oh, okay.
Which is also means that every time if you smell something, then first of all you get an indication of or a memory or some emotion or something evokes. Okay, I know the smell. It reminds me of my grandma, or like my older kid always comes to a room, then it says like, okay, this room smells like my school, or this room smells like this. So they get the memory, and a smell evokes the memory. And of course, during the life we eat, and some foods we connect with better memories, other foods less better memories. And food industry knows that. Flavor scientists know this.
Right.
And we always want to put some specific like childhood food memories into your food. to make them more appealing to a person. And I'm thinking a food product producer, if he manages to produce or come up with a product that evokes some childhood memory for a grown-up, then these will be usually are a success. And then there's the other side, which is the fact of a bliss point. And it was actually already it was understood that everybody has in the brain, and most of the humans have the similar bliss point where there's perfect level of sweetness, sourness, saltiness, crunchiness, or some texture aspect where people just cannot say no to food. And once that was known, and to food industry, that's so easy to start producing those products. And usually those products do not have to contain nutrients at all. Usually they are highly just some hydrocarbons extracted from plants, for example, starch-based products, and then processed, ultra processed, somehow extruded, and then flavor added. And then people love it because it's exactly the bliss point where they cannot say no. So have you tried to eat unseasoned potato chips? They are there, but not too many because people don't like them. Yeah. But once you add the perfect crunchiness, the umami, and all those special flavors to it, and then suddenly the whole bag disappears. So it's something that I am struggling. I know as a flavor scientist, but I'm struggling to. How can we now bypass that? We have done a lot of damage, but to our health, but how to now overcome this?
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, the food industry as a whole is such an interesting kind of web of confusion, I would say. And it's all so interconnected with kind of brain chemistry and brain science and all of those sorts of kind of, as you said, like memories and going back to the childhood and emotions and stuff like that. And that's like such a powerful driver for most people to buy whatever you're selling, right? And I feel like it is such a cool space to be a part of. Would you say that being a flavor scientist is your kind of calling or your destiny or what you've always wanted to do, or is it something that has recently become apparent or something like that?
It is a very good question. Never thought I'm gonna be growing up, I'm gonna be a flavor scientist. I never even
really
thought that I'm gonna be a scientist. I never thought that academic road is something that I'm gonna take.
Yeah.
It kind of grew on me, and I learned to love it. And once you go into this more and more, and you get more exciting aspects to it from it, then it's like kind of grows. And now my passion is how to apply this knowledge into a real food, real products, and also policymakers. Right now, we're talking a lot about ultra processed foods or chunk taxes or sugar taxes, but or maybe reduction of taxes to products that are healthier or healthy, and now how to define what is healthy, what is not. So there's so much practical aspects that my research has also moved as I grow and as the societal problems are evoking. So
yeah, no, it is such a, I would say that it's not really a childhood dream to be a flavor scientist, but it is such an interesting field. Now, I'd really like to go a bit deeper into and switch it up a little bit and go into fermentation, right? So, and it's becoming quite a popular health-focused food. And I want to understand, how does it allow us to rediscover kind of natural flavors, and what is the potential? What potential does it have to shift our kind of eating habits into a more kind of sustainable, healthy direction?
Well, now you opened the Pandora's box. Well, where to start? But maybe I'll start from the tradition. Like in here in Nordics, we don't have food like whole year round. So it has always been in our culture to preserve food somehow.
Right.
And fermentation is one way to do that. Yes. Because once you put a cabbage or carrots or cucumbers and you add lactic acid bacteria, then nothing else grows there, because the lactic acid bacteria overgrows everything, any other bad products. Of course, it changes the product itself as well. The texture goes a little softer, and it produces new flavors. And this is the aspect of how flavor science combines to fermentation, is that because bacteria, they don't do it on purpose, they just live there.
Yep.
They consume what is needed for the nutrition, and then they produce some flavor compounds that for us is pleasurable. And either the sourness that we like, but why it is pleasurable is because our body needs the nutrition. Our body has a very good system to tell us what kind of nutrition we need, and then we are focused, our sense of smell is focusing on like which products smell like that, what my body needs. So our body needs the lactic acid, for example, and the nutrients, and what is also good after the fermentation helps to kind of, the bacteria already digest the product upfront for you, so your body does not need to work that much on the digestion point of view.
Right.
So this is also one of the aspects, and our bodies know this. Comes from the history, like years and years and thousands of years. And this is what is appealing right now also. This is something that we forgot because free cheese came and all the processing and pasteurization and all these things came, and we didn't need to ferment anymore. And now it's like rediscovered again. And of course, like why fermentation is important. We studied a lot of microbiome, and we studied the microbiome of Estonians, and we saw that, and we compared to other studies that have been done, and mostly in United States, and we saw that the Estonians have a very diverse microbiome, like a lot of different microbes. At the same time, in the United States, or where the diet has been longer, this ultra processed and less live food or living food, then this was something that, okay, we know that this is might be related to health issues, obesity and all that these countries are facing. Right now we know this already, but that it is. But about 10 years ago when we started this, we didn't know, we weren't sure. And then we started to focus more that the fermented food can and will support the gut health, and through that the whole body and immune system. And now we know that even some of our happiness hormones, like serotonin, is created in the gut. And if the gut health is not in a good balance, then you can't really feel happiness. So it's really related to depression, mental health, and all that as well. Not only the fact that can I digest food normally?
No, it is. It's such a cool kind of, I've already said this, but it is such a cool industry to be a part of and kind of understanding, because it's about everything, it's all of your entire body is about what you kind of eat and how you operate as a person, how you act as a person. And it is such an interesting kind of path to go down. And I want to talk a little bit more about your kind of career. Like, you've described your career as bridging the lab and the fridge, which I love. Great metaphor, by the way. And so what would you say is your kind of biggest challenge and thing that surprised you the most about kind of transitioning from an academic research to starting your own startup, right? Raw Edge.
From a technical point of view, my biggest challenge was, like, I've been working on product development 15 years, but only on the lab scale.
Right.
And now if you have a product that is a little bit different than usual, or you want to do something different than usual, because usually if you take a yogurt or whatever fermented product, you ferment it and then you pasteurize, and then you don't have any problem with shelf life. You put it on the either fridge or in the normal ambient temperature. But now my biggest challenge was like how to make that product that was a little bit different, how to scale it up, because we had to, like, there was no pilot plant that could do what we wanted to do. So we had to, like, basically manually put together a pilot plant. So that was huge. First, we spent half a year trying to find something, and then we realized, okay, we have to build it ourselves.
Right.
So that was surprising for me as a scientist, and I understand that also this is a challenge from lab to the fridge. The
Mm-hmm.
biggest challenge, like how to make it actually shelf stable and all that. And because of I had a very strong belief that we need to eat live products. Everything is pasteurized, but we need to, even if it's fermented like sauerkraut, it's still pasteurized. So how do you get your live bacteria? Only way is you go to a pharmacy and buy these tablets where you have probiotics written
Oh,
on
yeah.
it. But I wanted the food to be alive because this is what we ate 100 years ago. And everybody was saying like, just pasteurize it, everything's going to be fine. But I had to convince retailers, investors, everybody that no, we are swimming against the flow. We are not doing this. The pressure was enormous. So staying truth to my own beliefs, that was something was very, very important.
Interesting. And when you say pasteurized, what does that mean? Just so I'm
So
clear.
it's heat treated, like it's you kill all the bacteria.
Got it. Okay, that makes
After.
sense. Yeah, I just wanted to double check. But yeah, no, that sounds super interesting. So it's about doing what we did, I presume, kind of quite a while ago, and using the kind of live bacteria to improve gut health.
Yes.
Am I right? Yes. Okay, great. Interesting. I would like to dig into your frameworks now because I think this ties quite perfectly into what we were talking about. And there was one in particular that I thought was super interesting, which is the reverse engineering cravings. What is that?
Well, that was kind of what I said, that where is the bliss point?
Right.
We know where is the bliss point of people, like the perfect combination of sugar, sour, and umami, and all those flavors. And unfortunately, all those salt is not good for you. We know that because of the heart diseases it provokes. Then sugar also not good for you. So what is the, in a way, one way we took apart what causes the bliss point, and now can we go back and try to replace some of those molecules or compounds with something that has a health benefit, or at least not a bad issue. What has been done is that, for example, they have been used artificial sweeteners.
Yeah.
But we can see that this has not had an enormous benefit to our health. We're still, obesity is increasing in Estonia, for example. Every fifth child is obese, which is huge. We weren't here 10 or even 15 years ago, and we're here now. And for example, lactic acid, the same acid that comes from fermentation. If you use lactic acid bacteria, then it produces this organic acid called lactic acid. And this one also has a way to be a little bit addictive, but it is good. Our body needs it. So how can we combine now, or take the bliss point, or engineer the healthy foods the way that it still gives the satisfaction, it still gives the idea in your brain that you're not missing out, but you're gaining. So this is something that we're working right now.
Yeah, it sounds really complicated, honestly. It sounds like a tough task to undertake, but it also sounds really, so it's kind of swapping different molecules out, but to still create that sense of satisfaction, right?
Yes.
Okay, interesting. This is super interesting conversation so far. I would really like to talk a little bit more about fermentation, right? So, and we've now entered the part of the podcast which I like to call the zigzag zone. So I want to know where you're zagging and everyone else is zigging. Now, you said that fermentation is more high tech than people realize. I think you did talk about this a little bit, but what does that mean? What does it mean that it's more high tech?
Very, very bluntly put, we fermented thousands of years.
Yeah.
But it was like trial and error.
Yes.
And most of the times it was 50-50. Either it worked or it didn't. But what we are trying to do now is to understand the fermentation on a molecular level. Like what has to be there in the raw material? What kind of bacteria eats what? What
Right.
bacteria produces which molecules, the metabolites we call them? What is the benefit of those metabolites? Which bacteria, like some of them are organic acids or fatty acids. For example, now we know that those fatty acids that those bacteria produce are crucial for our gut barrier. If we have this leaking
Right.
syndrome,
Okay.
if we don't have those fatty acid short chain fatty acids enough in our body. So basically, like understanding molecule by molecule, and also not to screw up in the fermentation. This still happens in our product as well. Just recently, I got a call from the producer saying that sorry, but the yeast started growing, like taking over the fermentation process.
Right.
So now I have to like figure out the solution how to make sure that the yeast, because it's a war. Kinda. If you put something to ferment, for us, we are using carrot juice.
Okay.
So there is some kind of micro life there already existent. I'm putting there my own lactic acid culture that I want to outgrow everything. Sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. So how to make sure that it will 100% succeed. Still not there. 90% succeeds, but working on it.
Yeah, no, it definitely sounds, again, like a really difficult task to undertake. But I want to go into story time now, right? So I want to know about the time that you forgot to open the ventilation valve on a tank of fermenting carrot juice, right? And I dare not to ask, but what happened next?
Usually, well, it's a funny story. Well, usually we have a huge tank. You can imagine 200 liter, like a bath.
Right.
Let's
Okay.
say.
Very, very big. Yeah.
And it was full of carrot juice. I put there a lactic acid bacteria and forgot to open the valve, but because the pressure is created once the bacteria start producing their living there, some gas is released. That's normal, and the gas has to get out of the tank constantly, like continuously. But since I forgot it to open it in the morning when I went there, I already saw like something is weird.
Right.
The mixer was coming out from the thing, and yeah, I could see that something is not right. So I started to open it. Okay, yes, I noticed. Okay, my valve was closed. So I started to open it. And as soon as I opened the little crack, it started like a fountain coming out the hole. I can't imagine what was the pressure that has been creating overnight there. The tank was very nicely holding up to that pressure, but then it started to come out. It was like a fountain, and it just came and came, and I was like just mesmerized with the fountain and the orange carrot juice, and I just froze. I couldn't do anything until I was covered with all over myself with the fermented carrot juice. My colleague came to see what was happening because like a lot of sound, and then I kind of like woke up, and I realized I need to close the valve again.
Yeah.
But then I was like all the ceiling and all the walls and myself soaking with the orange liquid. And then I remember that the only thing that my colleague was just started laughing and said that at least you have a nice tan, because I was like orange all over. And if you know the people using carrot, they not a tanning, like natural tanning, if you don't want to use sun. So carrot makes your skin orangey and brown. So yeah. That was fun.
Very great story. Absolutely love that. I feel like that was definitely one of my best ones that I've ever had on an episode. But now you will remember, because you got
absolutely never forget that.
Yeah, but that is really great. Thank you for telling me that awesome story. And we are sadly coming to the end of this episode, but I do have 3 final questions for you. So first one is, imagine it's 2035, so in 10 years time. What does your life look like? What does your company look like?
In 10 years, Raw Edge is definitely in the shelves of every European country, and it is recognized as the best alternative to if you want to give your kids something instead of any other fizzy drinks, or you want to help them not to drink that so much. And ideally, it's a planting a seed in a way, because we always come back to our childhood flavors.
Yeah, okay.
And And once you have grown up with this flavor, you keep searching for it, and you keep wanting it. So it's a time that you need to get to in people's mind and in their taste buds. But hopefully it's part of the diet. And what's my life? I'm probably still here in Estonia, but traveling a lot and opening the pilot plants all over places. And I'm still doing research parallel, and many clinical studies have been conducted, at least 3 clinical studies to prove that it actually has an effect.
Great. And then question number 2, how can listeners follow along with your journey?
I think the best way is LinkedIn.
Just LinkedIn. Fair enough. Question number 3, so last question. How can listeners be useful to you? So what can they do to help you?
First of all, if you're thinking more about what you're putting into your body, start looking turn the packages over and look what's in there.
Yep.
And be critical. And I know that if there are some policymakers listening to this, then also how to help people make the right choices. Because what is the biggest problem is that if you ask everybody, then of course people would love to eat healthy. But the problem with healthy food is it is expensive. So it is only accessible to some people, not everybody. So how to change that cap? I am trying to help that, as well as from the scientific point of view. For example, we know that like training people or educating people does not have that effect. So that has to become from a policy or like a bigger environmental change. Just to say that it's your fault if you're not doing the right thing, it's not. Science doesn't prove that that's going to have a health benefit. So there are many ways.
Lovely. Great. Well, that was really awesome. Thank you so much for being on my podcast. I'm really looking forward to following along with obviously your journey and Raw Edge's journey as well. But thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. It was such a pleasure.
Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this week's episode. To make sure you don't miss next week's episode, follow us on your favourite podcasting app. Do consider leaving us a review, as it helps the podcast tremendously.